most encouraging thing about coming up with a talk that I labeled Onward to 2021 is that most of the things that I was recapping and that I think that are important, are things that this group is already pretty self-aware. They're pretty, culturally aware. So it just makes me feel good to be in a place where these are, valued by this group, and then, the people that in my life that I've surrounded myself with. And so it was really encouraging because I did a look back and then a look forward. So moving forward, just thinking about 2020 being almost over, I think, we made it, but not everyone did. So it's kind of what's left with us. But time moves forward, and so we must too. So as we're moving onward into 2021, how do we do it? So first, when you're making a plan, thinking about making a move, you have to know where you're leaving from, what you're leaving behind. You have to know where you are. And most importantly, you have to have the vision to plan and accomplish a better history for our future. So the past 100 years, compared to all of recorded history, which I've been reading the mental floss history of the world, and so I kind of calculated from about 60,000 BCE, but it's about 0.002% is the time just from 1920 to 2020. And even with that small of a percentage of time, we've made some of the most significant industrial, commercial, technological advances compared to any other histories of the world. And so, 100 years ago, it was the Roaring 20s, and no other decade has had a name quite like that. But I wonder if we ever stopped really roaring. Woodrow Wilson in 1920, with the help of his wife, began the League of Nations in response to World War I to bring the world together. So that, communities weren't just learning how to depend on each other, the whole world was learning, how to get along better. And then in October of 1945, the UN was created. So that was another step toward global peace and working together. And then in April of 1948, the WHO was created. So we have our World Health Organization, thinking not just how can we get along, but how can we take care of each other better. And then, of course, in 2015, we have the Paris Agreement, which is ever evolving, but we're still, thinking about not just how to get along, how to take care of ourselves, but how can we take better care of our planet. And so another thing about 1920 that was interesting to me was a terrorist attack on Wall Street by a horse-drawn carriage. There was a cart, a man pulled up across from the JP Morgan building, got out, disappeared into the crowd. The bomb blew up, exploded. They never really figured out what happened. But that's a long way from, the Oklahoma City bombing in 1995, of course, 9/11. And then George Floyd in 2020, because racism has kind of been America's silent ambient terrorism for centuries. And his whisper of "I can't breathe" just erupted a roaring 20s movement last year, or this past year, that has surfaced the quiet strength that has laid hidden among Black communities. Speaking of rights, and Edith Wilson, she, took charge for a whole year. She was pretty much the acting president, as her husband was really ill, really disconnected from the world. She was deciding what was most important, things that, he should know about and what he shouldn't. And that was in 1920. But women's rights have progressed a lot, beginning in the 20s. And then, of course, Mississippi finally ratified women's rights to vote in 1984. So it's always been a process. The mass media has changed a lot. 1920, radio came out. And then in 1927, there was television and the internet in 1983. and smartphones in 1992, and then technology I can't even comprehend since then. I have a feature on my phone where I use my fingerprint to turn my phone on, and that's a pretty significant advance too, for just a regular citizen to have. So every moment we leave a moment behind, and our past shapes our future. But in between, we must know exactly where we are, and it's very important. This is a painting. It says, "Be where you are." My daughter painted it for an art show, and Jason actually bought it from her the very first time that we met. But it's just a reminder to be where you are and to pay attention to the things that are going on around us. So I came up with an acronym to keep it simple. Simple, SIMPLE, to stay inside, make peace, and live easy. So moving onward, I think, with COVID-19, I think that a priority is to contain and reduce the proliferation. That's obviously a priority right now, and something that we need to continue to look at, especially with new vaccines and new sets of rules, new behaviors, new beliefs. It's also a good time in 2021 for self-evaluation, to be honest with ourselves about our actual versus our perceived strength. And we should be ready to accept our faults and eager to seek methods of improvement. I always think in terms of kind of a general amelioration, what could I be doing better, in my eating habits and the way that I think and the things that I'm doing and the things that I'm saying or the ways that I'm being. There's so many things that, so many choices that we make. I try to focus on one that seems to be the most out of alignment and bring that one in before I focus on another one, in order to be my best self, because it's important for us to be a good steward of what we have, but also to not get too caught up in everything that's out there or comparing ourselves to others, just to do our personal best. So that's stay inside, SI, out of simple. So the next part, MP, is make peace. Part of that is saying no, setting boundaries, reinforcing boundaries. Our relationships are very important. They're part of who we are. And it's really important to think about those, especially, with coronavirus and the new, as part of our new normal, and with racism the way that it is, and just the awareness that's been available to us, and just how we can make those relationships better. With our stuff, we've been discussing traditions and materialism, so it's a good opportunity to make peace with the stuff that we have, with our life. Also, in living out our dreams, are we being inspired? Are we inspiring others? And the planet. It's a good thing to make peace with our planet. Recycling, renewing items, reusing disposable items, those are all still cool things to do. There's so many companies that are coming up with a lot of ways to do that, and there's a lot of opportunities for us to get on board with that, using our money to support organizations who do those things, watching the government and their choice of spending and our money, and how they spend that. And then supporting clean energy is also something very important that we can continue to do in 2021. So LE, out of simple, is live easy. Now is the time to prioritize. As the year is changing over, people kind of get a new mindset. And so we can find the balance between in here and out there, and create a sustainable lifestyle, a moderate lifestyle, one that's peaceable and benefits everyone. So January 2021 initiates a new year of news. We are going to have a new president and a new kind of vice president. So that'll be fun. Even though she's not the first woman to run a presidency, the dynamic that she brings is very unique to this time. We have new schools of thought in addressing racism, our economy, the environment, managing ourselves and our interrelations, including immigration. There is a new vaccine available for COVID-19. It will continue to change the way that we perceive and interact with our world. A new hope is in sight, but lest we forget, right? Mask and good hand hygiene are always appropriate. Proper nail trimming is important too. I worked in a hospital, so I know a lot of people don't really think in terms of infection control, but if you can imagine, everything is covered, in say like glitter, and you touch it, then you've got the glitter on you too. And you just have to think about what you're touching and how you're interacting with your environment. Keep your nails short, keep your clothes clean, change your clothes when you're coming in from the outside. I used to wear scrubs to work every day, and that was the first thing, they go in the wash and take a bath, just so you're not, carrying those infectious diseases from one place to another. I even wash my groceries. So that's just something else you can do. There's a lot of ways that you can, make your house healthier, safer, cleaner, just to, help everybody try to get over this illness that we are trying to get over right now. So I think in 2021, we should make bowing a thing in America. It's been around for a long time. It's reverent, it's safe against germs, as well as against, people that might have ill intentions. Bowing puts us out of harm's way, physically, mentally, and emotionally. Touch is a powerful dynamic. Touch can cause significant discomfort in some, and to others, refusing a handshake is just rude. Bowing provides a comfortable, respectful greeting for everyone. Now, hugger's gonna hug. I see you, Abbas. I know you're already thinking, no, that's not gonna work for me. I know that we're all, we're gonna do what we're comfortable with. But, hug with caution. Think about, does someone have a fever? Are they, having any symptoms? Are they ill? Because it's not just COVID-19 that's out there. There's still flu and other diseases that you can prevent with these same techniques. So we'll be beginning the year with new work habits, new budget items for sanitation and health, new workplace protocols, new handbook statements, and maybe some people will be working from home long term. Many new social norms. We're having online forums. We're still connecting online here, which is sustaining us as a group, and so I'm really grateful for that. But it, it does have its obstacles, and so we'll continue to work through those things. So if there's anything new from 2020 into 2021, it's a new awareness, maybe even a hyper awareness. There's so much information, there's so many new thoughts, so many changing dangers, that finding balance is really key. Taking time to focus all the way inward and totally all the way outward, from your cellular level, as much as like knowing how your body works and why you need what you need, and finding out specifically what you need without guessing, and then all the way to the infinite, thinking about how small we are in the galaxy, just to keep our perspective clear. And what do we want the past of today to look like tomorrow? What will 21 look like? What will 2121 look like? That's in 100 years from now. What will 2121 be? It will be a completely different world. The circumstances that are its existence are being formulated right now, and we get to shape our little part. And every day, individually and collectively, we decide how to move onward. Thank you.